YouTube or whatever. So, um, all right, live. We should be good to go.
Okay.
All right. So, guess we'll get the introductions out of the way. You want to go first?
You go first. It's your show.
All right, fair enough, fair enough. So, my name is Mike for your clips, and basically what we're going to be doing here is, just, weekly breakdowns of the EPL games, whether they've happened or not. So we'll start off with some transfer stuff like that, and in a few weeks' time, once FIFA 19 comes out, that's when the real fun begins.
I can't wait.
Oh, I'm so
Honestly.
excited! I am so excited for FIFA. I miss having that grind, like that urge to grind a game. I haven't had that since FIFA 18 came out.
Yeah, it's like for me, I've sort of like started to get back into recently, and I'm trying to make sure when the game actually comes out, I'm not going to be
Completely.
absolute dog shit at it.
Yeah, that's
Be
where I'm at.
out of touch.
All right, well, if you want to go with, thank you for that host.
Yeah,
if you want to go with some introductions.
The Domainist. I am a variety streamer, and I stream a bit of everything, but most of my content's going to be going over to FIFA from now on for the rest of the year. And yeah, we're going to just be talking about football, and should be a lot of fun.
All right, so being as it's the first episode, I would have liked to have done this a few weeks ago, but I just got back from holiday yesterday, so
yeah.
Transfer window. It was an interesting summer for all teams involved. We'll go just down the list. Arsenal, they brought in Lichtsteiner, who I can attest for being an Inter Milan fan, seeing him week in and week out with Juventus. He's a solid player. His age means absolutely nothing. He's an amazing defender.
I feel like Lichtsteiner is the sort of player that Arsenal have needed for a long time. He's just a bastard, and Arsenal haven't got enough of them. He's just a dirty bugger that's going to do what needs to be done. Like the Arsenal in the past few years have had too many sort of namby-pamby little technical players. I need some people that are just going to get stuck in and have a bit of experience, and Liechtenstein has got that in abundance.
Yeah, definitely. Not to say, I'm going to try to keep it. What's the word I'm looking for? Unbiased, because he is an ex-Juventus player, and I am an Inter Milan fan, so the blood is a little hot there. But as far as just as a football fan, he's a solid player. He definitely brings it like depth into that. Not to say that their defense isn't good. It's good. It's just they give him that depth of like you said, a bastard, someone who's gonna fight and scream at the ref. He had an offsides call today in the game, and he was screaming at the linesman. It was a clear and obvious offsides, but just seeing that is something that they've been lacking.
We'll get into the Arsenal game
later,
but there was a point in today's game. It was like a corner, and him and Laporte were sort of wrestling in the box, and Laporte sort of went towards him, and like Liechtensteiner just lost it. He was like fucking pushing him and shouting at people. And I was like, that's what Arsenal missed.
Yeah, and that's the type of player that he brings. That's what he brings to the exactly. But getting Leno, goalie from Bayer Leverkusen, going off. I can't say that I've watched too much of Bundesliga or anything, but on FIFA, he's a solid card.
And that's a bit of a dangerous
game that I'm playing. Yeah, I do agree with that.
So, I watched the Bundesliga here and there.
Mm-hmm.
From what I've seen of Leno, is sort of in recent years he's went up and up and up and up, and he's sort of just, I don't know. sort of got to a point and he sort of stopped. He
You think he's hit his cap
digressed.
and he's on the decline now?
I think he sort of got a bit stale at Leverkusen.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll be interesting to see how quickly he gets into Arsenal's team over Petr Cech. Like, Arsenal have been waiting for such a long time to replace Cech, who's obviously in a massive decline. And you saw today, one of Arsenal's biggest games of the season, they've just spent all that money on Leno, but Cech gets the call.
I think that was more of a, you know, Emery coming in and not wanting to, like, I mean, at the moment, you know, there isn't like an out and out captain because, you know, who would ordinarily have the band is still sidelined with an injury that I think is going to take him out till, I think they're saying November, something like that.
Koscielny.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
So like, I think it was more of a, you know, let me give him the start. Let me almost please the fans. So it's not to, I don't know. I definitely think before the end of October we'll be seeing regular starts by Leno. I think until
December,
then it's
until Koscielny's back mid-December.
Oh, okay, December. Okay, but I think, you know, don't be surprised if there's the thing with football. There's never lesser games. You know, there's never games that are lesser than others. But I hate using that term, but don't be surprised if, you know, with these lesser games, that with the current squad they have, that Arsenal should be winning. If, you know, he tests out Leno to see how he, you know, molds with the team. That's how I think he was gonna slowly start to ease him in, and then with the bigger league matches, you know, we'll see from there.
Well, from what I've saw of Arsenal's pre-season games, it's a case of Leno got the call early pre-season, and he wasn't great. He made a couple of mistakes, and then Cech was brought in, and Cech did quite well in pre-season. He did okay today. He still made a couple mistakes. It was 1 point.
Yeah, there were some. That second goal, especially that second goal, that was, he just let it in. Like he could have easily. It didn't look like he attempted at all, really.
But there was a point where Cech almost scored an own goal.
Yeah,
Mustafi sort of passed it to him, and he went to kick it out kick it out of play, and he almost kicked it in his own net. I'm like, you should not be making that sort of amateur move.
Again, we'll get into that, but there are definitely several times he did that. Socrates, couldn't pay me to say his last name, but Socrates is definitely a good addition. He's a solid center back. I think he's gonna pair well with Aubameyang, who's already. I'd like to think he's already, you know, accustomed to the way Arsenal do things. He's been there for a few months, so there's definitely going to be someone. You know, he has a friend, someone that can help him, you know, mold with the team. Exactly. And then as far as like people who left, you know, Mertesacker retired, Cazorla left, Wilshere I think is a.
He went on a free.
Yeah, but that's definitely something that might hurt them.
I don't think so.
You don't think?
No. I think Jack Wilshere is a good player, but I think he's overrated. And a player that hasn't been mentioned yet is Lucas Torreira.
Yeah.
Who was amazing at the World Cup for Uruguay.
Yeah, he was.
I think he'll do work for Arsenal. I think he's a long-term Vieira replacement. I honestly think he has got that potential.
Okay. And then also Matteo,
Guendouzi?
Yeah, Guendouzi. He, from what I saw, he impressed me today.
He looked decent. Like, you can tell he's still young, but
yeah, of course, he made the same mistakes that
he already looks like the sort of Arsenal sort of player. Like, he's very good on the ball. He's good at passing, but he needs to bulk up a bit.
Yeah, I mean, he's what, 19?
Yeah, he's very young.
So we'll give him some time to, you know, hit the gym, you know, get some weights on him, but from, you know, what I saw today, he impressed me. Yeah, but as far as, you know, who they lost, you know, Mertesacker, we talked, Cazorla, and then they really didn't, like, they lost some players, you know, Callum Chambers, Lucas Perez, but they didn't lose many, like, big name players.
No, which has happened to Arsenal in the past, where they
have to give all players to bring in
but they
exactly.
did lose Sanchez in January,
Yeah,
and I
true.
still don't think they've replaced him.
No, I don't think they. I think they tried to. They did a solid job. Don't get me wrong.
They've got
With
Mkhitaryan, who's
yeah.
okay, but
So, but he's
not
not that.
replacing the goals of Sanchez.
No, he's not that. They're still missing. I would love to see them um, somehow figure out a way to work, especially with without Sanchez. Granted, he was a striker. I mean, he's playing a winger position, striker position. He's all over the place as far as where his actual position is in the box. But without like an out and out winger like like a Bale or something like that, where where he's going to be playing week in and week out.
Yeah.
Try out a two striker formation with Aubameyang and Lacazette.
Well, this is the problem I think Arsenal have at the minute. They've sort of got Aubameyang or Lacazette, and then if one comes on, they're playing one on the wing and one up front.
Mm-hmm.
Neither of them are wingers. They're both out and
Exactly.
out strikers. And
Yeah.
when they've played strikers, respectively, for Dortmund or Olympic Lyonnais, they have been two of the best strikers in Europe. I think in one of Lacazette's last seasons for Lyon, he got 50 goals or something crazy like that in a season.
Which when he came over, I thought he's gonna run rampant in the BPL.
Yeah.
Which, to be fair to him, he did a
got
good job,
about
but not
18 odd goals last
Yeah.
season, which is still decent for his first season. But you've
Yeah.
got to remember, this is a striker that they've paid 50 odd million pounds for.
exactly. So you're expecting him to produce the results that you
At
can.
least 20 goals.
Yeah.
Um,
Same with Aubameyang though.
but yeah, I don't know. Like, I think Unai Emery is a manager who's typically played 4-3-3. And I don't know how he's going to get Lacazette and Aubameyang in the same team. It seems almost like
But at the same time,
one played, the other one doesn't.
Look at who he's had to be able to play that type of 4-3-3 formation. Yeah, you have Mkhitaryan, but then who do you have on the other side?
I think Lacazette's probably going to have to play there. But Lacazette's better as an out and out.
If you're expecting him to get those 50 odd goals a season that you paid 50 million or whatever it was for, you need to play him. You can't expect him to be doing that from the right wing or from the left wing. You need to have him as the position that you bought him for.
Yeah,
it'll definitely be interesting to see, like, as the season progresses, what.
And these aren't his players as well. Obviously, he's came in. These are Wenger signings, so it's going to take him a few transfer windows to get the team how.
Oh yeah, of course. He came in. He didn't. Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see what happens over there.
Yeah, Bournemouth. I mean, I'll be honest. I couldn't say, much about them. But before we move on past Arsenal, rating out of 10, what would you give them as far as a whole, taking into the consideration that it wasn't truly Emery's transfer. It wasn't his summer. It was more it was like he had like half a summer to work with almost.
I'd say they've done very well. For who they brought in, and he's got rid of a lot of deadwood as well.
Yeah.
I'd give them 7.5 out of 10.
Okay, I'd say a solid 7. Just for the fact of they definitely brought in some good players, but they didn't lose anyone, which is huge. They didn't lose anyone they didn't, like you said, anybody that I lost was like deadwood. It was just someone that was, from what I remember, Santi didn't really play much.
No, he's been out for the past 2 seasons or so.
Yeah, so, and then Mertesacker, I mean, that's... They definitely...
He passed it.
He's definitely a presence that would have been hard to replace, but as far as, like, overall, like, ability, I definitely think Socrates replaces him. Definitely not locker room presence.
He's still got the experience that Mertesacker had, so I don't think they're losing anything.
Yeah, they don't lose anything there. But yeah, all right, so 7.5. Decent for Arsenal. We'll see what happens with them. Bournemouth, like I said, I really don't follow much. And if you have anything to say on them,
Jefferson Lerma, I think, is one to watch out for.
Okay.
I think he could, if he plays well for Bournemouth this season, I could see him being a top 6 team next season.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Brighton.
I'll say this. Remember when Kante came into Leicester?
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Fair enough. Brighton.
I think, they made some interesting signings. Bruno Fernandes from Leipzig, I think, is a decent player. But look at the rest of it. Jason Steele, like
Yeah,
Florin and Donny.
it was a lot of
Like
players that were. I don't want to insult players, but but like they didn't make. But again,
very average.
yeah, it was a bang. Like I'd give them a. I'd give them probably. I'd put them in the same area where I put Bournemouth. I'd give them like a 4 or 5 out of 10. Something. It wasn't bad. Like they made signings. You want to see bad. See me in a few minutes when we get to Manchester United, but they had a decent. It was a bang average for what they are, for who they are as a club. They had a decent transfer summer.
I'd agree.
Burnley, Joe Hart. You have to start with Joe Hart. I think bringing in a keeper with that type of do I want to say pedigree and Joe Hart in the same sentence?
It's a name, but he's probably going to be Burnley's third choice goalkeeper.
Do you think? And I hate saying this about footballers. Do you think he's there for ticket sales?
I could say it. Honestly, like they bought him because Pope and Heaton were injured.
Yeah,
they would have not bought him otherwise. Like Man City would have wanted very little from him. They're probably still covering some of his wages because of the stupid money he was being on a Man City.
Yeah.
And yeah, I could see him being there for a season and then probably moving on. I don't think he'll be there that long. I think he was brought in there as a sort of stopgap.
Like just in case it gets down to that where you need a third string.
Yeah,
you don't have a.
That's the thing. They're in that situation now. They were having to play Lindegaard in the Europa League because they didn't have someone else. I feel a bit bad for Lindegaard because that was his debut for Burnley after signing the season ago.
Yeah.
And now they've brought in Joe Hart.
See, meme guy just said, sorry to cut you off. I think Joe Hart was just to have Burnley talked about on Twitter. Again,
yeah,
having them talked about, bringing up ticket sales, stuff like that. I would have to agree. I hate saying it. I hate admitting it. You're not wrong.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah, it's a name that they've brought in a name.
Yeah.
But what I would hate to say fair play to Joe Hart. He has a good 6 months until Nick Pope comes back.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd hate to see Nick Pope's progression get shunted because Joe Hart's there.
Yeah.
After Nick Pope having such a good season last season.
Mm-hmm. You definitely want to see him continue, which, I'll get into that later with a specific player. But I think I agree with what you said, how, I think he's there for a year as well. Honestly, I would want to see him. I don't know how he did well in Italy. Nothing against he for what
he did okay.
Yeah, for considering, he's a good keeper. He was, he has his qualities, but I would like to see him maybe like go somewhere where you're gonna start. MLS.
But let's remember, like he couldn't get in West Ham's first team towards the end of the season, and they were losing like every game.
True. Do you think the years of Joe Hart might be wrapping up?
100%. 100%. I think he's very overrated, and yeah, I'm not impressed with him, to be honest.
So I mean, I would probably give him like a 4 out of 10, to be honest, as a whole. Like that again, it was one of those like just a bang average, like nothing to talk about, nothing crazy.
Like I never realized Burnley brought in Matej Vidra. And I never heard that happened. It must have just been a deadline day signing or something like that. Vidra's a good player. He's been doing well in the Championship for the last couple of seasons. But I remember when Watford got promoted,
mm-hmm.
the Premier League a couple of seasons ago, and he was hopeless, absolutely hopeless. It was at the time when there was the whole Udinese Watford thing going on,
yeah,
and he just wasn't the part. Burnley again, they did so well last season, and I feel like they just haven't been brave enough to step that extra mile. Like, you're in the Europa League, you will be able to sign higher profile players because of that. Go out and buy a striker that's going to get you 15 to 20 goals. Because you haven't got that. You've got, who is it? Ashley Barnes and Sam Vokes. No disrespect to them, but, like, I'd put them on the level of, like, Hosley with Newcastle. Like, they're not great. Like, go out and buy someone that's going to score you the goals to keep you up the top of the table like you were last season.
Yeah, I definitely think they're going to be one of the teams to watch. When the window opens back up in December, January. Like you said, they need maybe they bring in a striker. Maybe we'll see what happens. To be honest,
And you've seen it so many times. Team overachieves, gets Europa League, and then struggles and is in a relegation battle next season because they don't have the squad. And I wouldn't say Burnley have the squad
to go the distance to not to not be in that
competitions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because they didn't really get injuries last season either.
Yeah, so they had what they had last year. So
Ben Gibson, I think, is a very good signing though. I think he's a very good signer for Burnley.
So what would you give them out of 10?
If they'd sign a striker that wasn't Matic Vidra, I would have given them a 5-6 out of 10. Because they didn't, I'd say 3 out of 10. I think they've done really poor.
3 out of 10 as it stands.
Yeah.
Okay. Cardiff.
Fucking awful. Honestly. What is Neil Warnock doing? Let's be honest. Like, I watched their first game against Bournemouth and speak about that in a bit. They were horrendous. Like, Josh Murphy was about £13 million.
Mm-hmm.
No, you can get much better players than that. Like Andros Townsend and his sort of level of player was getting talked about for that sort of fee. Liverpool got Shaqiri for 13 million.
Which I think we'll talk about. That's
yeah.
I don't know who allowed that to happen, but
Greg Cunningham.
We'll get to that.
Okay. Alex Smithies, really. Bobby Reed, it was like £15 million. It was probably on the level of a Dwight Gill.
But I mean, do you
probably
think
get them 5 to 6 goals this season?
But do you think they made do with what they had? Remember, we're not talking about the Chelseas, the Arsenals, the Man Cities, with all this money to work with.
They sort of snuck into the Premier League for the playoffs, if I'm correct. I might be wrong about that. Let me check. I'm sure they went up for the playoffs. Championship.
Why can I not find it now?
No, they went up in second place. Okay, I was wrong. But still, they were very much a team that overachieved. They had what's his name? I think it's Sabore or something like that.
So similar to the Burnley thing. They're a team that overachieved.
But I think they're a team that, if they're honest with themselves, have got a very average championship team, and they're not good enough. I think they'll be bottom of the league.
So I was just going to say, you think we're possibly looking at one of the bottom 3 in Cardiff?
When Derby were up in the Premier League a few seasons ago, I think they're going to be that level, honestly.
Right. Yeah, I'd say... So you're saying, 1 out of 10?
Yeah.
So, Chelsea.
Wasted money.
Chelsea.
Rob Green, best signing.
Jorginho, again, being a former Napoli player, not even saying, he's playing with his manager from last season at Napoli. That completely aside, Jorginho's a solid pickup. Not that... Do I think Chelsea was lacking in the midfield department? No. Not even a little bit. Still a solid pickup.
I'd agree.
Same with Kovacic. Chelsea's just not one of those teams that are lacking in the midfield department. Still, I mean, could they be playing the injury game just in case and swap? I feel like they're going to be one of those teams that they have all these different options that you're going to see less and less players. You're not going to see your Contes playing 90 minutes. You're not going to see your stuff like that. Just because you have so much talent and you need to spread it out.
Well, I would say for Chelsea is they need Morata to have a good season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
He had a good first half of the season and then
He fell off.
completely went.
Yeah,
And
he just disappeared.
I don't understand why they've sent Batshuayi out on loan. That doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, like honestly, when I saw that, I was very, very surprised. When I saw that, I didn't think. I think that definitely hurts them as far as like, when it comes to who they've brought in. Kepa to replace a keeper in Courtois, who clearly he wanted out. He had enough of that system. Um, Kovacic, like you said, Green and Jorginho. I think they definitely. I mean, definitely as far as we've seen, they rival Arsenal for so far from what we've seen, the best transfer window anyone's had in the BPL.
Yeah. Well, I going back to Batshuayi, I just don't understand Chelsea's issue with him. He's a proven goal scorer. When he was at Marseille in his last season, he played 32 games, got 17 goals and 9 assists. Like,
yeah, I mean,
he's went to Chelsea, like 1 start, 5 goals, 19 sub appearances, 3 starts, 9 sub appearances, 2 goals, 1 start, 3 sub appearances, 2 goals. He went to Dortmund last season, 20 appearances, 15 goals. Like, play him.
He's proven himself to be a player that needs to be. Don't bring him off the bench. Give him a start.
Yeah.
Especially, I mean, obviously, they didn't have him because he was loaned out to Germany, and with Borussia Dortmund last year. I think. How do I word this? Like, I think if they still had them on the team at the time, when Morata dips out and his form kind of dwindles a bit, give him the start. Give him a chance.
Like, you spend this money on Olivier Giroud, you didn't need to. You've got Batshuayi there,
who is a younger player. He definitely has pace on him. He has the pace to keep up with Hazard, to make runs with Hazard. He has the technical ability. They refuse to use him.
I don't get it.
The Courtois thing definitely. I was very surprised with that.
Like, Courtois a one that's been bubbling over for a couple of seasons. It's like, it's obvious he's always wanting to go back to Madrid and go to the other side of Madrid in terms of football.
Yeah.
But if you're a team the size of Chelsea, who are supposed to be one of these forces within Europe, you're leaving it to the last day or so to sign your goalkeeper, and then you sign a 23 years old, who's made 1 cap for Spain. Like, and he's never played consistently at any sort of top level. It's a risk. Like, he kept a clean sheet against Huddersfield, but
it
was Huddersfield.
Exactly.
If the worry I have for him, if he plays against a Manchester United or a Man City and he has an absolute clanger, he'll get crucified for it. Yeah. And that could completely kill his confidence. So I'd understand if you've got that money. Stoke wanted 30 million for Jack Butland. Go and buy Butland. That's how I say it.
Yeah, it's a keeper that has proven himself, has that experience with the teams that your Man Cities, your Man U's, your Arsenals, your whatever.
Yeah.
Don't go after a player who, we'll hope and see. Because now, from what people are saying, it's whether it turns out to be true or not, it's going to be a tight race at the top of the league this season. So,
between 2 teams, and we'll talk about that.
Yeah, we're not, I'm not saying one team, it's going to be a one game in it type thing where, like you said, he can have a horrible game against Manchester City. I'm not saying that'll be the difference, but you get the point I'm trying to make. That I don't know. I definitely think they waited too long. They left it late with getting yourself a keeper who is obviously going to be your number one.
If you're going to bring him in at the start of preseason and give him a preseason to get used to the team.
Yeah, don't bring him in 3 days before and say, "Have fun."
Yeah, bring him in 2 days before the season starts and say, "Oh yeah, you're starting." Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So week 1, yeah, we have Huddersfield. So let that be your preseason warm up, because what is it? They have Arsenal next week.
Yeah.
They have Newcastle after that, and
Which
then
you're gonna lose.
and then granted they don't have the most difficult upcoming schedules, but it's not. You know what I'm saying? It's not like it's
Yeah, I get you. Yeah.
So Chelsea, if they kept Courtois, if they kept Batshuayi, I give them even without Batshuayi, they keep Courtois. I would give them 7, 8 out of 10. I would put them up there with Arsenal as
Just
far
for
as
keeping Hazard and Willian.
yes, especially Hazard, because more William, because Hazard, they said earlier this, like a week after Ronaldo left, Chelsea, they knew where the tide was turning, that spark of interest in Hazard would be reignited with Real Madrid. They flat out said, we want Hazard to hold the record for most expensive transfer. So they straight up said,
be a thing that happens in January or next summer. 100%.
Really? I don't think if it happens next summer. I do not think that happens in January. Again, I mean, football's weird like that. It could happen, but just for holding on to Hazard, holding on to Willian, bringing in the likes of Kovacic, Green, Kepa, actually not even Kepa, Jorginho, I give them a 7.5.
I'll say a 5.
Really?
Yeah.
So the Courtois and Batshuayi thing hurts them that much for you?
They were so far behind everyone else last season, challenging for the league. They haven't done enough. And I think this will be another season them finishing up outside the top 4.
So you think they're going to be one of the teams that just towards the the latter stages of the year, they just them as a contender really they kind of fade away?
Yeah, I saw Morata play in the Community Shield and he was awful, like really bad. And see Morata gets injured, you've then got Giroud to play Premier League, League Cup, Champions League, like all this.
Yeah, I mean, is it possible, of course, but I don't see it working out too well as far in Chelsea's favor.
Yeah,
I don't be surprised if that happens, if they favor Hazard as striker, which I think could work. It won't.
And I would play Giroud over Morata anyway, but that's just me.
Fair enough. Crystal Palace. I think bringing in Kouyaté is huge for them. Same with Ayew, huge for them.
Yeah.
And they've really as far as Delaney's the only person they really lost, which some could say that's not that big of a hit.
Yeah, Max Meyer is going to be an interesting one.
Mm-hmm.
He's a player with a lot of potential. He's very highly rated, and it'll either go one or two ways for him. He'll either be an absolute success and he'll be getting a move to Chelsea or Tottenham in a couple of seasons' time for 50, 60, 70 million, or he'll be getting released and he'll be playing for
back in the Championship,
FC Mainz or something like that at the bottom of the Bundesliga.
So as far as Meyer, you're thinking another Conte situation?
He's got the potential to be one of the top attacking mids in the Prem, but it'll be interesting to see because he's got attitude problems. He's a bit like Ben Arthur was for Newcastle a few seasons ago. If I had to compare it to someone to be like that.
Okay.
And Jordan Ayew, I think, is a good sign.
Yeah, Ayew definitely is someone. I'm not sure. I'm not too. I don't really remember the details on his transfer. I know it's a loan. Is he someone you think that they try to hold on? They need to hold on to once the loan is over.
It depends how he does. He got 11 goals for Swansea last season, which is decent. I think when Villa were in the Prem, he got about 9 goals, so that's not too bad. If he gets 10 to 15 this season for Palace, we should snap him up. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's just one of those. They didn't do bad. They didn't do good. I mean, I'd give them a 6. They definitely did. They definitely did good. Like I said, the only player they really lost that could hurt them is Delaney. But other than that, they made some decent signings. So I'd give them like a 6.5.
I think it was a shame they didn't get Loftus-Cheek back on loan. I think he'd be a miss. If Maya has a good season, I'd say an 8. Honestly,
so
I think that's how well he could do for them.
Okay. So, all right, I'll let you stick with your 8 then. Everton, I mean, Lucas Digne, Mina, and Zuma, and Andre Gomez. All, I'm not gonna say huge signings.
And Richarlison.
Definitely help. Yeah.
And Bernard.
Definitely, help bolster a team that, you just lost. I want to say definitely the veteran presence of Rooney, who definitely gave them that spark. If you remember earlier in the season, last season.
That's the thing. He was their top goal scorer.
Now he's playing in MLS in Washington.
Yeah, I'm sure he's liking the weather over there a lot more, and sure it's a lot easier for Wayne over there. It's a shame, he waited all that time to go back to Everton, and he was there for 1 season.
And in the season he was there, he clearly proved himself because, like you just said, he was their leading goal threat.
Yeah, he got 10 goals.
I mean,
27 starts. That's decent. I
think
it's a shame.
Yeah, I mean, they lose Funes Mori, they lose Rooney, they lose Klassen, they lose Williams, they lose Morales. They just, for what they lost compared to who they brought in, I don't think they
massive
did.
Upgrades.
You think they upgraded? Do you think they did well?
Oh, massively, 100%. Kevin Morales, losing him, who's done nothing for the past few seasons. Richarlison,
which I'm
1 game,
which I'm very surprised at. Which I'm very surprised with Morales because when he came over,
I used to love Morales.
I thought he was gonna be a break. I thought he was gonna have a breakout season that season, and then nothing.
They lost Luke Garbett, who's been their backup left back for the past few seasons, and they replaced him with Lucas Digne. They needed a left back. Leighton Baines is starting to get on a bit. He'll be a big upgrade playing for Barcelona. You don't play for a team like that unless you've got a player.
You actually have something special, and 2 of them, Andre Gomes, and
Yerry Mina as well.
Yeah,
Yerry Mina was still how good he was at the World Cup.
I feel like they just went shopping and they looked at Barcelona like, what players don't you use?
Yeah. Barcelona will be happy getting rid of Yerry Mina. He made 4 starts after signing him in January for 11 million, and they sell him for 33. So that's a nice quick turnaround for Barcelona. The only thing I'd be worried about with Yerry Mina and Gomez, Barcelona were trying to get rid of him all summer. In every deal, they were like, "Yeah, have Mina and Gomez." Gomez was very poor for Barcelona last season.
Yeah.
But he's a player with a lot of potential. He's still quite young, so it'll be interesting to see how he adapts to the Premier League. He's a very physical player.
Yeah, it's definitely, like you said, they definitely, as far as you could tell they wanted a younger, somewhat, they wanted younger options as far as, like you said, Leighton Baines is getting up there. Wayne Rooney, it's no surprise that they let him go. Morales, he clearly isn't the player he was. His form just was non-existent the past few years.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they had a good window. A lot of risks, I think they took, last window.
Mm-hmm.
If they turn out well, I'd give them 9 out of 10.
I
Or
think
it could go another way, and it could be a 4 out of 10.
yeah, I definitely think as far as name value, I would give them a 4, just because we don't know yet. If we do this in December, we'll see what happens. They could end up with the smartest deals of the summer.
Yeah,
It's one of those things we have to wait and see.
100%.
Um, Fulham, another one of the teams.
Wow. They went in.
Yes. Yes, they did.
You look at these names: Jean-Michel Seri,
Huge.
Maximilien Marchand,
Huge.
Andres Schürrle, Alfie Mawson, Callum Chambers, Sergio Rico, Luciano Vietto, Fausto Mensah, Zambo Agissa, Alexander Mitrovic. They did really well. But they brought in a lot of players. It's going to take them time. I think they're going to have a bad start of the season.
Oh, of course.
It's going to take time for them to gel. It'll be interesting to see by January where they're at.
I think come November they'll probably hit their stride. I think it'll take them a bit, like you said, because they did bring in a lot of big players that could massively help them.
The only thing you'd worry about, if they don't gel, you could have a very expensive version of QPR if they get relegated. If they go down, they're screwed, basically.
Oh, 100%.
The amount of money they've spent.
Yeah, 100%. They definitely, I think they need, I'll give them the pass of, I'm not expecting them to go out and win 5 out of 5, from the next few weeks, but I'll give them a few weeks to figure out how they want to work their system. But if they don't have it by January, it's going to be a very interesting situation over there.
I'd say
I would like to think they're not going to be one of the teams that get dropped down next season.
No.
But if they
played some really good football in their first game, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would give them, honestly, I'd give them like a 6.5. I'd put them up there with, who did I give? I think I gave that to Chelsea or Everton, one of the two.
Yeah.
I'd put them up there with them.
But why I'd see it, I've seen Mitrovic play a lot. I've seen him play a lot of games. I've seen him play live.
As a biased fan.
Yeah. He's not going to get you the goals. He's not going to... For the money they spent, 22 up to 27 million, he is nowhere near worth that.
You think you guys got away with robbery on that one?
Oh, for that sort of money, I would have drove him down to Fulham. Honestly. I think he'll get 8 to 10, but they could have got such a better striker for that sort of money. They should have been going to Chelsea and offering that for Batshuayi, and would have got them.
Honestly, yeah. Because what was the Batshuayi deal for?
It's a loan.
Well, yeah, I'm saying, is it with a buyout option, or is it just?
No, it's just a straight loan.
Again, they just need to offload him. I should. Yeah. I know I didn't bring this up before, but they need to offload him and let him.
If he wants to come to Newcastle, I'm down. Open arms. You can come here.
I'll send him the podcast.
Don can go to the bench, and Batshuayi, you can have the number 9. You can have the key to St. James's Park. You can have everything. All right.
Huddersfield. I mean, it's just one of those teams that I didn't follow enough coming into the season to where I can make a decent, I can give it a pass, and we can move to Leicester.
What I would say on Huddersfield, it's not Eric Durm. He's a good player, coming from Dortmund.
Mm-hmm. Again, he's one of those. It's one of those teams that, you don't make it into a Dortmund, or it's not like Barcelona, but you don't make it into a Dortmund without having some type of knowledge of what you're doing.
St. Jonas lost all on a permanent deal. He was on loan last season, did very well. So they'll be happy about that. They've got Ramadan Sobi from Stoke, who's got a lot of potential. A very similar mold to Marko Arnautovic. So
Who
he's got
is, he doesn't have the most breakout. He doesn't have a breakout season every year, but it's a bang average.
he's a very tall, skillful winger who can pull off a bit of magic here and there,
Yeah,
which I think will help.
he won't be doing it week in and week out. He won't be running through your defense, but
No.
he's definitely a good presence to have on the team.
Terence Gongolo, he's a good player as well. He played left back for Huddersfield last season. I'm guessing with Durham coming in, he's going to be moved into the centre of defence.
Mhm.
You look at the left, lost the only real standout one's Tommins. Again, though, similar to Cardiff, they don't have a striker. They've got Stephen Mounier, who didn't set the world alight last season. He had a decent start and then sort of just tailed off. How many goals did he get last season? He got 7 goals, which is okay for his first season. He's still young. He's only 23. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how he does, but I think they should have brought in another striker.
Which, again, that's something we could revisit in December to see, how they possibly handle the next transfer window.
Yeah.
Leicester.
Interesting one.
I mean, we can start with this, right? The obvious, losing Riyad Mahrez. I think that's...
It was inevitable, wasn't it?
Yeah. I'm actually surprised it didn't happen last season. I will be completely honest. I'm surprised he was in a Leicester City kit last season. I mean, who else did they lose? Musa, Slimani, Huth, Barnes. They lost some decent players, and they brought in, again, decent players. But I think I have to give them a loss. I mean, can you really blame them for doing what inevitably was going to happen with losing Mahrez?
Like, what's the point in keeping him? He wasn't happy there. Like, get rid of him and replace him. They've done that with Gezal, who just turns out to be another French right winger. No, another winger from the French league who's Algerian. They love an Algerian over there at Leicester, apparently.
I think I'll give them the pass on the summer window just because, you can't be expected to offload someone like Mahrez and then a week later come out and bring someone who's going to directly replace him. So I'll give them the pass. I'll say they had a decent window. They got good money for someone who would have taken, a Coca-Cola as a signing bonus to leave. To be completely honest, like, he just wanted out. Yeah. So they did good, I think, in that aspect. I'll give them until the end of the transfer window in January. They need to bring in someone with like that spark.
I think Gezal's got that though. Honestly, do, and I think James Maddison as well is a very good signing.
Both solid.
Done well at Norwich last season.
Mm-hmm.
Played well in his first game. Looking at Gezal's stats last season though, he doesn't score the goals what Mahrez did. He got 2 goals last season. Like, it's
that's my point. You need that. They have that spark that you need, but as far as like, goal presence, lacking.
You're putting a lot of pressure on Vardy now.
Yeah, which could be a great thing. I'm not saying he's going to fall back into the form when they had the miracle run, or he could completely collapse under the pressure.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna penalize them too hard with losing Mahrez because again, it's something they really didn't have much control over.
There was nothing they could do.
Yeah, they made the best of a bad situation. I'll give them a 6.5.
I think they had a really good window.
Mm-hmm.
I think they could have done it with another striker, but it's always going to be tough to bring in his striker who knows he's going to be back up to Vardy.
Yeah.
Um,
And who
I'd say a
knows?
7.
I mean, can you see a world where at Leicester where, Vardy's forms isn't what it needs to be and they pull him in favor of someone else?
Man, you got to remember Vardy's now like getting into his 30s.
Yeah.
Like, and his game is very much based around pace. Is it going to be a situation like we had a few seasons ago with Aaron Lennon, where he was a very good player at Spurs and then he lost his pace and that was it? He was no, lost everything that made him good. It'll be interesting to see what happens with Vardy. But I think, again, 15 to 20 goals this season for Vardy, and Norwich finished, not Norwich, bloody hell, Leicester finish mid-table.
Yeah, I definitely see them as a mid-table. So I'm going to be straight up. I'm probably going to give Liverpool the highest. I think Liverpool won the transfer market as far as the BPL is concerned.
I don't know about that. Do you not see Man U bringing Lee Grant in? Like, signing of the summer, along with Rob Green going to Chelsea.
I actually did not see that. When did that happen?
What, Rob Green going to Chelsea?
No, the Man U signing.
Oh, Lee Grant. That was like one of their first signings.
I did not notice that. Honestly, I wasn't paying much attention to Man U just because I had a feeling they were gonna do something like what they did. I feel like they just sat on their hands. We'll get to Man U when we get to them.
Yeah.
Alisson, another player coming over from Italy who I can personally speak of. Huge signing. I think he's possibly the best signing they made.
I've only seen him play for Brazil. The time I watched him for Roma was when Liverpool put 7 past him.
See, yeah, it's hard for me to like back up what I literally just said when that. But I mean, hey, Liverpool had to have seen something if they went and bought the guy who gave them the.
It would have probably been about 15 or 16.
Yeah, he did. Considering what their options were, I feel like he did the best with what he had.
And to keep Edison out of the Brazilian national team, he has to be doing something right.
Especially after the season that he had.
Yeah.
Ederson was an animal last season. But, seeing him play, Roma was, of course, they definitely dwindled a bit, with the latter stages of the Serie A season as it wrapped up. But, he was a solid option for Roma. Like, he was a great player. Granted, I'll admit this straight up, is Serie A as, like, dynamic and high-paced as it is in England? No, not even a little bit. So that could be something that he needs to take in mind and adjust for.
Yeah.
Fabinho.
I think they'll do well.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're going from Karius to Alisson. They're going to be all right.
Yeah, I think they'll be just fine. Shaqiri is just one of those players that just adds life to a team that I'm not saying Liverpool needs it, but it ain't gonna help. I mean, it's not gonna hurt.
No, good backup option.
Mm-hmm.
But Shaqiri's a player known for having a bit of an attitude, and
yeah, and
so it can be a bit disruptive at times. Is he going to be happy playing second fiddle? He probably will be in the first place, but after 6 to 12 months, I could see him causing a bit of fuss. I don't think he'll be at Liverpool for too long.
Are you saying more than a season, or a season?
I think it'd be one or 2 seasons, and then I think he'll move on because I think he'll be sick, unless you see Salah move on.
That's something I can't see. It is. I'm not saying. I mean, nothing. I said the same thing about Ronaldo 4 months ago, and now I've been crying myself to sleep every night waiting for Italy to start playing again. But
like when Real Madrid have got that money sitting in Ronaldo,
mm-hmm.
like I
Do
wouldn't be
you
surprised.
is there any part of you that could see Real Madrid making a big money move for Salah in January?
Oh yeah, in January, no. I think the wait, because the thing is, it's good. A similar situation to Coutinho with Barca last season. Say they bring Salah in for all this money, he wouldn't be able to play in the Champions League for them anyway. I think if Salah has a similar sort of season to what he had last season, I don't think he'll hit the sort of numbers he did last season just because it was like messy numbers. It was crazy.
Which that is something I did want to bring up. From what I watched today, he had a game that everyone has come to expect from him at this point after last season. But do you think I'm not saying we're gonna have an exact, repeat of last season, because that would be probably unheard of and ridiculous. But I think he's not gonna be like the. So there's this theory that I've had that every season, one player gets cloned by some scientist underneath in London on the ground, and they say, right, he's the player that's gonna go crazy this season, and then every year they change. It happened with Hazard. It happened with Vardy, and last season it happened with Salah. But I feel like with Salah, he'll have another great season, like outrageous
he hit
season.
42 goals last season.
Yeah.
I think he'll hit about 25 this season.
I would say he'd hit about 30, 35. I'm not gonna
and
put.
If he hits them sort of numbers, I think Real Madrid will come calling
next summer.
Yeah.
Because obviously, whoever they, I feel like with who they have, Real Madrid definitely are set in their ways. Like, I don't think, not that they don't want to challenge for the league title. Obviously they do. But like you said, there's no point in spending what they're going to have to spend to bring Salah over, because it's going to have to be something outrageous. They're not going to spend that money just to have him sit on the bench or sit in the stands when they're playing Champions League games.
What I think will eventually happen at Madrid is, going a bit off topic, this will be Bale's last season at Madrid. I think he'll come back to the Premier League this season after. And then Salah will be Bale's replacement, and then they'll bring Neymar in as Ronaldo's long-term replacement.
I'm so excited to see what happens with that. It's not even funny.
And then you've just got Benzema chilling, who's past it. But
as far as who Liverpool have lost, Emre Can,
Adam Bogdan.
Again, like all these other players, I can't say I've and Danny Ings. Other than that, I can't really say any players that I've, been able to follow with a passion.
I don't think all the Liverpool fans were getting so worked up about losing Emre Can. I don't think they're worried too much about it now after seeing Fabinho.
Yeah,
and Naby Keita.
Yeah, I remember that was a big thing, was when they lost him. But I think they'll be okay.
Yeah.
Same thing with the Alisson thing, Yeah. It was him or Carrier, so I think they'll be okay.
Yeah.
But Liverpool, I'd give them a solid 8.
I'm gonna say 9.5.
Wow, 9.5. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, Man City, Mahrez, Gomez.
That's about it.
Yeah, honestly, it's just Mahrez. As far as who they brought in,
they brought in Claudio Gomez, Felipe Sandler, and Daniel Arzani. They were just going to be players that are going into the under-23s.
Yeah.
And might play the odd League Cup game.
I think Mahrez was... they lost Yaya Toure, who they released.
Yeah.
I think that's more of a hit on the that the veteran presence in your locker room more than anything. I think as far as he's not out here banging 25, 30 goals a season. I don't think they're going to miss him in that aspect.
They need to replace him though.
Oh no, 100%.
You remember with Man City's midfield, it's not the youngest. They've got Fernandinho, who's over 30. They've got David Silva, who's over 30. And Kevin De Bruyne, who's an absolute king. Um,
to say the least.
but
no, I definitely agree with
Fernandinho is
that.
their only like sort of defensive midfielder, and you're putting a lot of pressure onto him to do all that work.
And now he's one of the more veteran presences in the team.
Yeah,
I definitely agree with that. That, you know, again, he's not out here banging 30 goals a season, but you still need to bring in someone like that will give you the same like options that Yaya gave you.
there's a reason that Pep Guardiola wanted Fred before he went to Manchester United, and he wanted Jorginho before he went to Chelsea.
Do I think Man City, again, I think Man City will be just fine. I don't think they're going to suffer much from losing Yaya Toure and bringing in Riyad Mahrez. But I think, you know, Man City was okay. Forward.
I feel so sorry for Man City. Now they've only got Sterling, Gabriel Jesus, Aguero, Leroy Sane, Riyad Mahrez, Bernardo Silva to play an attack. Oh, my heart bleeds.
What are they going to do?
I know.
Like
poor buggers.
What are you giving them, like a 3, 4?
I'd say a 6 just because of Mahrez. If they hadn't signed Mahrez, I'd 1 or a 2.
Fair. Man United. Go ahead.
Well, Fred. That's it.
Yeah.
They signed Diogo Dalot as well. He's supposed to be a very good young fullback, but he's a right back. Is he going to play ahead of Valencia? No. And he's injured for the first couple of months of the season.
Which is, you know, what you always love to see.
Yeah.
Going into a season where the word anarchy comes to mind.
It's not going. All is not well in the back rooms of Manchester United.
And that's hard for me to say because, as an Inter fan, nothing Mourinho does is wrong. But
no,
he's fucking up.
He's a special one. You know, he's going to make Manchester United into champion. No, he's not. So he's going to be gone by the end of the season.
Well, he's in the he's the front runner for the first manager to get sacked award.
Wouldn't surprise me.
He's the front runner for that one. So this is where I take a back seat, and I'm gonna let you handle Newcastle.
Right. So we can look at the names of the players that got brought in, or we can look at the amount of players we've got in each position. We have 1 left back. We have 2 strikers and then Hjozelu, who I do not count as a footballer most of the time. We have 1 number 10. We have 1 right winger. We have 2 left wingers. And we've got 1 right back now because DeAndre Yedlin has just done his ACL, so probably going to be out for 7 to 8 months.
Minimum.
Yep. Yeah, like, looking at the players that left, we lost Masadio Haidara, who's not played for a long time. Mikel Merino, Snake. We brought him in from Borussia Dortmund. He wasn't getting a game. He played really well at the start for us. And then he got an injury, which kept him out to about January, at which point we started playing Mo Diame and John Joe Shelby. They had a really good partnership the second half of the season, and he didn't want to put the work in to make it back into the team, and basically put a fuss up to get a move. So we lost him. Chancellor Mbemba left at FC Porto. Rafa didn't want him anymore. He's a good young player, but bad attitude. Matt Sells went to RC Strasbourg.
Which to intervene real quick. That's another thing. I have my own personal feelings with Rafa.
Yeah.
I think he's the reason. Not to go off topic, he's the reason Inter had a calamitous fall from grace that we did. Um, he's definitely done better for you guys than he did for us. He was there for 3 months, and our, I would say, star center attacking mid in Wesley Snyder basically became a full time bench rider because he wanted him to give up money when he just had, you know, 2 back-to-back seasons. So I'm glad he's working out for you
He's,
and not making the same mistakes he did with us.
like the fans love him.
He definitely hit his stride, I think, because when I saw you guys bring him in, I I have my own personal feelings with him. So those aside, I definitely thought it would be interesting to see how his style worked in England.
Yeah, like we've now got an issue though in our sort of back room where the owner won't give him the funds to spend to bring in the players he wants. And he's into his last year of contract at Newcastle. So this last season is going to be interesting. If Rafa does leave, then it's going to kick off in the Newcastle fan base.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd be devastated. He's been our best manager we've had in such a long time. So it really hurt to lose him.
What would
Yeah.
you give? What would you give you guys overall for
Well,
the window?
So the other couple of players were lost. Alexander Mitrovic to Fulham, who I've already mentioned,
Mhm.
and Dwight Gale went to West Brom on loan. With Rondon coming into ourselves, we're saying Rondon. Obviously, I think he's a okay striker. I think he's an upgrade on Dwight Gale, and he'll
Okay.
get us 8 to 12 goals this season, which will be an upgrade on Dwight Gale. We signed Martin Dubravka permanently for £4 million, which I think is an excellent signing for how well he did for us last season. Signed Ki Sung Young, who was the captain for South Korea at the World Cup. A good, experienced Premier League pro. I think he's a good signing. We've got Kendi on loan from Chelsea again, who's I think is another very good player. I wish we'd got him on a permanent deal instead of loan, but oh well. We signed Fabian Shaw from Deportiva La Coruña for $3 million, who I think is a very good player. He was one of the main defenders for Switzerland at the World Cup and played well. I think he's a upgrade on Mbemba. We got Yoshinori Mutu from FC Mainz, who averages about 9 goals a season. So again, he's an upgrade on Mitrovic. And we got Federico Fernandez from Swansea for $6 million, who were basically brought in because one of our centre backs, Florian Lejeune, got a long-term injury and he's going to be out for the season. Basically, I'd say the annoying thing is the problem within the Newcastle fan base is that we've signed players, but we're still about £20 million in profit after the window.
Mm-hmm.
So we signed players, but we didn't spend money. And like I went through positions, we've still only got one left back and one number 10, which is positions we need to desperately improve. I'd say the players we've signed, I'd say a 5, to be honest.
I think
Okay.
like you just mentioned the profit that you guys still are holding on to. What do you think as far as come January? Do they make like a big like a shock signing?
No.
You think
No way.
they just ride it out?
The last time we broke our transfer record was in 2005 for Michael Owen. I don't expect that to change anytime soon unless there's a takeover.
Okay, fair enough. Southampton.
Interesting one.
Yeah.
I think Yannick Vestergaard's a very good signing. I think he's the replacement for Van Dijk, what they were missing last season when he left.
I think, Ings being brought in as a loan, I think that's just like more of just to give you, not that they're
An
missed,
option.
depth.
Yeah.
Not that they're like the depth wasn't I would put him, with Tadic. Tadic again, one of those players that I do. It was years ago when he played with us at Inter, but he, obviously has developed since. But I feel like they could be considered similar as it was like a replacement, direct replacement for that, just to give you that option that you still, or that depth that you still have.
Yeah, I'd agree. Um,
They didn't do bad,
I
they
think
brought in
Ali
some.
Lucy's an interesting one.
Which one?
Mohamed El Yunussi,
Oh, okay, okay.
a player with a lot of potential, good young player. But the same could have been said when they signed Buffal a couple of seasons ago.
Yeah,
And it
who
didn't
they
work
who
out.
they just loaned out to,
Yeah.
to Celta Vigo. I definitely
Again,
think as they sit, as it stands, mid table, definitely top half. I don't see them anywhere near relegation.
you think the signings have made a big enough difference? Because you got to remember, this is a team that did almost get relegated last season.
Yeah. I know. I'm aware, but I mean,
But you could put that down to the manager that was in place as well.
yeah. Again, we're a week in. Not even we're officially 2 days into the season, so absolutely anything could happen. But I think they'll have a decent season. As far as like rating goes, I'll give them like a 5.5, 6.
Yeah, I'd say 4 or 5.
Okay. Um. Hmm.
Tottenham Hotspur.
So Watford. Uh. I mean, what the hell happened in Tottenham?
They didn't get Jack Grealish.
What? Like,
Um,
I was looking at this
uh,
before. I'm like, wait, where's the players they brought in? I can't find it. Oh yeah.
it's the first time ever in the Premier League era that a team has not signed a player in the summer window. I don't understand. I don't know if it's a show of arrogance from Tottenham.
I just think they fucked up.
Like,
I think they. I'll be completely honest with this whole the thing with Bale wanting to leave. I think they genuinely put all their eggs into one basket trying to get Bale, and
well,
it blew up in their face.
Pochettino did an interview the other day, and he blamed Brexit for Tottenham not signing anyone.
I saw that. I, I saw that, and I felt bad because
I think it's more
I like
along the line
Pochettino.
of
I really
they've just
do.
got the new stadium. It's a bit similar to Arsenal when they went to the Emirates. I think they're not going to make any big moves for a couple of seasons, having to pay for this new stadium.
Yeah, but nothing at all.
Like, I know a couple of Spurs fans. I think the thing you would say about Spurs is who do they sign? What position, apart from wherever Sissoko plays, where could they improve?
True. Now you also like. I think there's that thing with, had that Luka Modric deal materialized into anything to where, Inter actually got him, a big option was Ericsson. What would you have done if you lost him? If you're the Spurs, you're screwed.
Yeah, it's
You
like
have
who do you replace Ericsson for?
yeah, you have essentially, it would have been 2 or 3 days to come up with something. You have no one that you're like linked with. Obviously, there's things that don't make it to media to where, you know, Pochettino that they have in mind, but
The thing is,
I
with
think they got
if
lucky.
and when Harry Kane goes,
Which
how do they replace him?
I don't see him. I I don't want to say it can't happen. I don't want to say that, but I don't see it happening soon. If I can say that.
What I'd say though is, you look at these players: Ericsson, Kane, Hugo Lloris, Toby Alderweireld. You've already started to see it happening. How long are they going to be happy not challenging for anything?
I mean,
They're miles away
to-
from the league.
Toby Alderweireld, that almost
Yeah,
blew up in your face because that happened, and then
And
whatever
Spurs'
reason
wage
didn't go through.
structure in place as well. They play such lower wages than any of the other top teams in the league. So
I definitely think come February when the window shuts, the Spurs that we see now is not going to be the Spurs that we see then.
they have to. I have to do something.
Well, no, I'm just
If
saying. I'm just
say
saying
Kane gets
they're
hurt
gonna
in the
lose.
next game and he does his MCL. Are they going to rock with Llorente for the rest of the season?
They're screwed until then.
There you go.
I'm not even gonna rate. I'll give them 0.4.
A
Genuinely.
-2.
Leonardo Ola from Leicester just secured a permanent transfer to a Mexican club. Meme guy just posted in the chat and said that.
Oh, Joa. Okay. I mean,
Yeah.
He was a player that hasn't really played for a long time, so that doesn't surprise me.
Watford. I think bringing in Defayu, I can never pronounce his name, from Barca.
Yeah.
That's huge.
What I would say though, Deulofeu is a very much a player. He has one good game in 8. And I see Watford as a potential relegation candidate this season, and Deulofeu is not a player you want in that sort of situation.
Yeah. Ben Foster.
They've lost Richarlison, which
starting.
is huge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they do. But in terms of what they've done, I'd say a 2.
Like 3-ish. I mean, does it matter what West Ham did? Not to offend. I hate to possibly offend any West Ham fans watching. Does it really matter what they did? Yarmolenko.
Yeah.
Great pickup. I've always thought Yarmolenko was a solid player for Dortmund.
So, as I say, Yarmolenko did very well in the Ukrainian league.
Mm-hmm.
Had a good start at Dortmund.
And then just...
And then totally trailed off. He scored 3 goals last season.
I think, bringing on...
He scored 16 goals in his career in 8 years. Is that good enough, really? I wouldn't say so.
I mean, but when you're West Ham and you're just lacking in general...
It's a name.
Yes.
That's what I would say.
Jack Wilshere definitely brings in some type of... He brings a presence. I'm not saying it's a good presence.
To the injury table.
Yeah.
He'll keep that physio room nice and busy. No, if West Ham can get him fit and firing, he's a good signing.
Yes.
But it's a case of if.
They had their moments. They had their moments last year. Yeah, they had their moments last year. Where I thought something special could happen. And then obviously, nothing happened. They'll be interesting. Oh, wait. What am I saying? Hi. Felipe Anderson. From Lazio.
Good player.
Amazing player.
You're probably better to talk about this than me.
Yeah.
I've seen him.
He's solid. What were his, want to see what his stats were last year. I mean, he's basically the reason why we almost didn't make Champions League last year. So we could start with that. He where are his stats? Why can't I find them?
So for someone watching who doesn't watch the Serie A, if you had to compare him to a player that plays in the Premier League now, who would you compare him to?
As far as just Prem in general or last season? Oh, I was muted. Sorry. As far as Prem as a whole,
Yeah.
or Prem like specifically last year?
Just let's go for last season.
Um, I mean, Hazard pops into mind. Just maybe not as far as um,
As quality but style.
just the dynamic like spark that he brings to Lazio. Lazio, they're still going to be a contender. I mean, as much as you can be when you have Ronaldo in the opposition. But
Yeah.
he's definitely going to be one of those players that I think he's going to spark a team again if it works. He's one of those players that I don't think is going to do well in a team that's fighting for relegation or fighting against relegation.
Right.
What's another player I could put him alongside with? I'd say a more Willian is another one, but
Okay.
but more of a flair about him.
Right.
I mean that could be that Brazilian thing.
So in general, so let's say a player that's played in the Premier League in recent times, Nani.
Mhm.
But would it be along them sort of lines from what you're saying to me? Would it be a sort of a Nani?
Yeah, it definitely depends. It depends how he is, because obviously with who Lazio had around him, obviously it's gonna.
Yeah.
He's not one of those players that I could put it this way. He's not gonna be one of those players that are just gonna go out and carry you as a team. He needs a support system. He's not a Ronaldo. He's not a Messi. Whatever. But if you,
And let's remember, he was playing passes to Ciro Immobile last season.
I
Now
mean,
he's going to be playing passes to
Chicharito.
Chicharito, who's
So
not Chicharito 2013 when he was playing for Real Madrid.
yeah. So I definitely think it'll be an adjustment for them, or for him as a whole. But if they give him the right support system, if they play it correctly, West Ham could actually do some damage. Not saying they're going to be contenders. I can't see it. But
it seems to happen a lot with West Ham though, where they make all these signings. And it's like, oh, West Ham go do this, and then they finish like 15th.
Yeah,
I think one of the ones that went under the radar a lot is Lucas Perez. Signed him a deadline day for $4 million.
Yeah.
Looking at his performances last season, he had the second most chances creating La Liga to Lionel Messi. He will open space up in defenses for West Ham,
which is clearly something they're lacking at the moment.
So I think it'd be a good one to watch. And
I'd give them
I'd say 7.
Yeah, I'd say 7.5. All right, and finally, the Wolves.
10. Honestly.
Now,
wow.
is that a 10 because they're the team that they are?
Like, you just say these names: Jean Moutinho, Rui Patricio, like Leander Dendoncker. But then you see Benica Folbe and like Leo Bonatini. They've made some really good signings, but it'll be interesting to see how they do. I think they've still got some very average players in their team. Like, I don't think if Folbe is going to score the goals what they need to. I think they're going to be relying a lot on Jota to get the goals. But they could be like one of these teams and finish European places if their team clicks.
If their team
could
clicks.
be another QPR,
yeah,
and go straight back down.
All right.
They've got a team with a lot of potential.
So I'd say overall, definitely had some. We had teams make some good, signings and good decisions, but
Very quiet transfer window, I would say, overall. It wasn't too many big moves, apart from obviously Cristiano Ronaldo going to Juventus. But
and then
apart from that,
yeah, I mean, as far as England is concerned, it was just average.
yeah.
Some players made some big signings, and others just sat there.
Yeah.
Mostly looking at the Spurs. But let's get into talking about this week one for what we can talk about. Obviously, we'll start off with Friday's matchup, Man U Leicester. With everything that was surrounding Manchester at the time, or it still is, with the Mourinho, the Pogba debacle, the Mourinho, Martial deal, all of that. Pogba getting the armband was interesting for me. Definitely didn't expect that.
No, I didn't.
I don't know if that's Mourinho kind of being like, stop crying here, take it, kind of thing, or he definitely doesn't want to lose him. He's made that blatantly clear.
But I don't think Pogba wants to be there, and I think he's made that quite clear.
Oh no, yeah, that's blatantly obvious that whether it's against Mourinho's wishes or not, I expect
there's
him.
still time of the transfer window to go. If Barcelona come in with a £150 million bid before the 31st of August, I could see the Glaziers at Manchester United taking that.
Oh no, 100%. But as far as they started off strong. Penalty in the 3rd minute, which I thought it was funny because it's bad enough that Sanchez and Pogba started arguing who takes it. Obviously Pogba does, slots it, quick goal, and then Luke Shaw, beautiful goal, doing what
you couldn't write it. You could not write it.
Yeah.
Luke Shaw of all people.
And then Vardy gets brought on, does what Vardy does or did, I guess. 2-1.
Yeah.
Man U started out great for the first. I don't even want to say the first half because after the 30th, they kind of just they just stop caring in a way, and then they almost end up conceding a second with the final corner of the match.
Yeah.
And luckily they make it out 2-1.
Yeah. It's one of these things. It's early season. You're not going to see teams at their stride until 5-6 games in. You've got to remember as well that Man U've had players at the World Cup, especially looking at Paul Pogba, getting to winning the whole thing.
Yeah. And then you have all that stuff, all that controversy surrounding him and Mourinho, so there's that extra little bit weighing on him. So I forgive them for not, I'm not going to be too critical just because it is the first game of the season.
Yeah.
But, with that whole impending Barca thing happening, it'll be interesting to see how they go on from now. Like, what are they, let's see, they have Brighton. They have Brighton next week. Then they have Tottenham, Burnley, Watford, Wolves, and West Ham. And that takes us to the end of September.
Potential Barcelona midfield of Arturo Vidal, even Rakitic, and Paul Pogba is a frightening prospect.
Illegal. But they have Tottenham in 2 weeks on the 27th. Other than that, all these games are games they need to be winning.
Yeah.
They shouldn't be losing to Brighton. Tottenham could give them a challenge, but I still see Man U pulling that off. Burnley, Watford, Wolves, West Ham, again, could be a challenge. Could be a wash. And then, they play, I'm not going to say the next game after that.
There's some interesting things going on at Man U at the minute, though. You look at Anthony Martial.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't get onto the field against Leicester, was on the bench. And
I think if they have any hope of, possibly making any type of run, that needs to be solved. They need to fix whatever issue that is.
Like,
If
I'm not
if
being
it's
funny.
if they can.
If you don't want a Mourinho, sell him. Don't stunt the lad's development and leave him on the bench until January and then potentially sell him.
Yeah, when he came into the league, what was 2-3 seasons? When he came to Man U 2-3 seasons ago, he was insane. Even last season, he was great, and I really hate to see him, just get left on the bench just all over a quarrel with with Mourinho. It's not fair to him as a player.
No.
Um,
On a positive note for Man U, though, Andreas Pereira,
mm-hmm.
a lad that was out on loan last season, playing in La Liga for Valencia and played very well. Playing on the wing, and he comes back to Manchester United and he's playing as a holding midfielder, and he played really well.
Yeah, I think as far as like just their player, I think they had a decent game. Again, we'll see in 2-3 weeks when we talk. We'll see what happens, how they're, because by then they'll have, for the most part, I'd say that they'll have molded into the team they'll probably be. Newcastle, Tottenham. This is one of those games that I didn't get to see because I was driving, unfortunately.
So, Tottenham, as you would expect, had more of the ball. Like, Rafa's sort of style is not based on possession. Tottenham got the goal early on through Jan Vertonghen in the 8th minute. And it was an interesting one. It turned out that goal line technology had to be used. It was 9mm over the line. And I was just thinking, damn it, goal line technology. Like, if that wasn't there, that probably wouldn't have counted. And then Hoslu, 3 minutes later, heads in the equaliser from a brilliant Matt Ritchie cross. And then the game got a bit scrappy. There was some misplaced passes. It was very much like a pre-season game.
More than a week one of the season.
But Tottenham were very a lot more aggressive than I expected them to be. Tackles flying about. They were putting a lot of crosses in the box. Yedlin did not have a good game. They'd obviously noticed that his side of the defense was a weakness, and they were putting a lot of crosses into the box on his side.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the 18th minute, Ali on that side beats Yedlin. Yedlin's in no man's land and heads in the goal to give them a lead. And then from there on, they had a couple of chances. I'd say that we had the better of the second half. 47 minutes in, just after the restart, Diame is in the box. John Joe Shelby does a weird sort of header lofted through pass where he sort of heads it up in the air, flies over the Tottenham defence. Diame left foot volleys it and hits the inside of the post, comes out for a corner. Ayoze Perez in the 60th minute gets on the end of a bit of a scramble inside the box and forces Lloris into an absolutely world-class save. I think you're playing it against any other keeper in the league, that's 2-2.
Mm-hmm.
And then Rondon, who's the Newcastle number 9, gets brought on, and he gets an opportunity just inside the 18-yard box, straight on to the goal, takes a shot, hits off Vertonghen's back, who's trying to slide to block the shot, goes up in the air, over Lloris, hits the crossbar, comes out. Another opportunity. And then we had a couple of corners, didn't really go anywhere. And it ended 2-1. Newcastle had a right to feel a bit hard done by. I think any other day it's 2-2. But it's the way it goes. Like, you've got to take the positives from the game. Newcastle, I think, played quite well overall.
Considering who they were playing against.
Yeah.
And like you said, any other matchup, any other matchup, you're taking that 2-2, if not taking the win.
And we showed again Harry Kane doesn't score in August, and he continued that. Yeah.
I mean, Chelsea, Huddersfield. The fact that it's Huddersfield,
pretty straightforward.
It's a straightforward game. Cardiff, Bournemouth.
It was an ugly game.
I again, not one I got to watch. I missed majority of the games that we saw.
Bits of it. Neil Warnock is not a Premier League manager. He's Cardiff just looked so unorganised. The defence was all over the place. Both goals were laughable in terms of defending. Bobby Reid, who's their record signing, had an okay game. But they got dominated by Bournemouth. Bournemouth having 60+% possession, which you think of Bournemouth, they're not a possession-based team. So for them to be dominating that much, like Cardiff, when you're newly promoted, you need to be getting results. Places like Bournemouth, no disrespect to Bournemouth.
Yeah, of course, but you're not gonna do anything, and you're just gonna end up in the same position you are if you're not taking those games.
Yeah,
there's a lot of teams that, or a lot of games that they're gonna be coming up against that a lot of people, again, giving them the pass. Game 1, it's fine. Yeah. You're not gonna get that from me next week.
No.
Who do they?
Cardiff's upcoming fixtures.
Newcastle.
Yeah, we play them next. I'd hope we could get a result against them after seeing them play against Bournemouth.
Huddersfield.
But
then, unfortunately, they've
got Arsenal.
They have a gauntlet
Chelsea,
of
Man City, Burnley, Tottenham, Fulham, Liverpool. Like, they could easily be relegated by Christmas.
Yeah. If they played the way they did, yeah. And I hate to, but it's Arsenal, it's Chelsea, it's Man City, it's Tottenham, it's Liverpool.
Yeah, they're not winning them games.
Watford.
Who would Watford play? Watford played Brighton.
I mean, let's start off. Meme guy said, and it's Cardiff.
And it's that's true.
Watford, Brighton, 19 shots to 6, 5 on target to nothing.
Ricardo Pereira.
I mean,
wow. Early goal of the season contender. A player you would obviously saw in Italy, playing for Juve and Udinese.
Yeah. And again, like I said earlier, Serie A is not the EPL, but if he's proving again week 1, so we'll need to wait and see. But he'll definitely, if that form continues, we'll be looking at him for a possible when the game launches, for a possible SBC card early on.
I think early Premier League teams having his sort in your team would be a good little card to have.
Oh yeah, that'll definitely be one of those cheap cards that if you're not packing him, out of your first pack, you'll probably be able to get him for under, maybe not a couple thousand coins right off the bat, just because the market is completely fucked. The first
but 4,000 to 5,000 coins.
Yeah, and then you make that back in, especially with the coin mod. I mean, we'll get into that when we do the FIFA thing, which I can't wait to start integrating that into these talks. But we just need FIFA. That's the point I'm trying to make. FIFA needs to come out.
Yeah.
Now, Fulham, Crystal Palace. Zaha doing Zaha things.
Yeah, Zaha doing all the things. Sean White
I mean,
he's been
in
touted for
Fulham.
70 million, but also showing parts in that game why he didn't get a 70 million move because he missed a couple of sitters.
Yeah, like, I mean, not to say Fulham just sat back like Cardiff did. Like, they 15 shots on target, almost
No,
as many. I mean, 15 shots, almost as many on as
well,
Crystal Palace had on target.
Fulham
Outpossessed
did play
them.
well. They created chances, but again, Mitrovic, he's not gonna.
Be
He's
the
not
end all
a
be all.
finisher. He's not a natural finisher.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he had 7 shots for you on target. He's not that guy who's gonna drag you through a season and get you the goals you need. Um, you know, they've got Luciano Vieto, who they've signed from Atletico Madrid. I'd be playing him instead of Mitrovic. I think he's got potential. He's done it on a semi-consistent basis in recent years in La Liga, and I think he'd do the business for Fulham. I think he'd fit into their style more of the quick passing player. But I think Fulham can feel a bit hard done by. I think they played quite well. They've had 66% possession for God's sake. But if you don't turn your possession into goals, you're not going to win games.
What's the point? Yeah.
Um,
Everton game, I think.
Richarlison.
I mean, jumps out to a lead in the 17th. Naves ties it up. You go into half 1-1.
That Neves free kick.
Another possible early
Another
contender.
one. If he has a sort of season I'm expecting him to, he will not be at Wolves next season. And I'm not just saying about like top 6 teams. I'm talking about top European teams.
Oh, so like you're talking out of Europe. We're talking.
I'm talking Bayern Munich, Juventus, Real Madrid, Chelsea, Man City.
Okay.
I think the lad's got that sort of potential.
It'll definitely be an interesting player to watch as far as, possible investments for, team of the seasons that might come out, or team of the year, weeks that might come out as FIFA progresses. But yeah, I think Everton, they shot themselves on this one.
Yeah,
I mean, first off, looking at the team the team sheet for the stats, outshot 11-6. Wolves takes that. 4 on target to 5 on target. Everton barely takes that. Outpossessed, outpassed, pass accuracy in favor of Wolves as well. And they played a clean game. No, they had one more foul than Everton did. No yellow card, no red card.
Yeah.
It's just Everton didn't care.
From what I saw though, and I said this when I was doing my review of the games, Willy Boly was fucking awful. He was so bad. If he continues to play like that, I don't know why Wolves have signed him. He looked like Bambi on ice. He didn't know where to stand. He got beat by Richarlison in a physical battle where he scored the first goal. Bolly, who's 6'4", Richarlison is 5 foot out. And yeah, but you look at their front three, Jimenez, Jota, and Elder Costa. I think they'll do the business, and I think they'll score their goals to keep them up. But I think in January, defense needs to be looked at for Wolves.
Liverpool game, definitely what I would have expected going into the season. Just nonstop. So I woke up early. I woke up around 9:30 this morning, my time, which is about around halftime for this game. I put the game on. It was 1-0. Within 30 seconds, Mane slots in what was gorgeous team worked goal.
Yeah.
2-0 at
I'm,
half.
I'm happy to see Mane sort of getting back to the level he was at. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
because Salah was so good last season, it
Just
sort of took the light off
it
Mane.
he took the light out of the whole team. He just overshadowed everyone.
I think Mane is an incredible player.
I
Such a good player.
I think Salah and Mane supporting Bobby Firmino is going to be a very, very scary team.
And I think the only thing Liverpool were lacking last season was a goal.
And you just went out and signed a world class keeper.
Yeah.
I mean,
was it too much what they paid? Yes, but
is that the market that we're currently in for football? Yes.
Yeah.
And then Arsenal, Man City. So I mean, solid game. You know, Sterling, beautiful goal. I personally didn't see the deflection. I don't know if you saw the highlights or anything. I didn't see the deflection. I thought that was a clean goal.
Yeah, I did.
I just think, I think Petr Cech just kind of fell over.
Yeah.
Like I don't think. I think it was more the case of not getting a good look at it, and then I think it was 10 minutes later, Mahrez cuts in on the right. I'm sorry, he's running down the right hand side, cuts to the left, through Socrates and I forget who else, and almost slots it in bottom left corner.
Yeah.
For 2-0 within the first 25-30 minutes of the game. You know, Aguero had a great one-on-one that had he passed it off to the left to De Bruyne.
I couldn't believe he didn't score.
It's 3. I can't believe he didn't pass. He passes it off. That's an easy 3-0. And then Bernardo Silva.
I sort of don't blame him. Like, you've got to think this is like strikers are in their mindset.
Oh, of course.
They're greedy. That's what they do.
And it's Aguero, so you have that.
Yeah. But he sort of went for power cross goal.
Mm-hmm.
Just think it over. It's a goal. But I think player of the game had to be Benjamin. Wow.
Wasn't he
like a new signing?
Didn't he have the assist on the Bernardo goal as well?
He had both assists.
Was that his on Sterling? I wasn't sure if that was his on Sterling.
He was the one that gave the passes. Like, he's the one that set Sterling up. Sterling still did a bit of work, but
of course,
the assist was actually Mendy's.
Yeah.
And he assisted Bernardo Silva's goal as well. Yeah, he's like a new signing, and he reminds me of Dani Alves in his prime at Barcelona at left back.
Yeah.
Like, if you look at his average position throughout the game, his average position was on the halfway line.
Yeah.
I
mean, it was. I think they played. I think Man City proved that, you know, they're still the same team that, you know, that won 100 points. They got 100 points last season. That won the title. I've been saying this for a while now. I don't think they're gonna. I don't want to say that they're not gonna challenge for the title. Obviously, they are. I don't think they're going to. They're not going to have as convincing of a win. There's too many people brought in. There's too much talent at the top end of the table for them to run away with it like they did.
Yeah. But saying that, look at Man City's fixtures. Like,
they're
6-7 weeks time, they could be miles ahead of everyone.
Yeah. I think, but even still, like, you know, I remember them saying at pregame that Arsenal need to be able to find a way to stop them, even if it's with a tie, just for the sake of what their fixtures are coming up. I mean, Huddersfield, Wolves, Newcastle, Fulham, Cardiff, Brighton, and then you have Liverpool, which, you know, good game, and then Burnley, Tottenham, Southampton, and then you start getting into, you know, it's more of a congested schedule of where you're going, who you're playing.
Yeah.
But that's a solid, how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks of they're probably going to win.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know. I don't know what to say about that. I'm scared
Like,
for who they have to play.
yeah. What I'd like to do is it's been the first episode.
Mhm.
I'd like to do some predictions. So then, if we're still doing this at the end of the season, come back to it
Okay.
and see if we were right.
All right. Fair enough.
So if you want to document it, or I can document it.
I mean, we'll have it. We'll have it on the video
That's
because
true.
I'll be posting this up to YouTube anyway. But
So, who's going to win the league?
you know what? I'm gonna say Liverpool. I think.
I'm
I think.
also going to say Liverpool.
I think Liverpool with Man City, like, right right behind them. They basically they might as well be at the trophy celebration with them.
I think they'll go down the last day.
Yeah. I'm not saying it'll be a goal difference split, but it's going to be Liverpool barely edging Man City.
After saying Man City today, I'm like, how can I bet against these? But I've said it before the season started, so I'm going to.
Yeah.
Teams to be relegated.
Any particular order or just any teams? Any of the three?
Yeah.
Meme guy said it would be like the 2013-2014 season. Yeah. With the way that one went. It's a tough one.
I'll tell you who I went for.
Go ahead.
Watford, Bournemouth, Cardiff.
Watford, really?
Yeah.
Well, Cardiff's definitely in there for me. I agree with that. Cardiff definitely. Fulham, hard to say. They had too good of a window. Same with Wolves.
The only one I'm not sure about is Bournemouth. I'd say between Bournemouth and Brighton. But...
yeah, I'm thinking Cardiff, Brighton, and honestly, probably. I want to say Burnley for some reason.
Okay. Who's your dark horse team for this season? That team that's just gonna do what Burnley did last season and just out of nowhere be amazing.
I want to say. I mean, again, trying not to use like the first week's results.
Yeah.
I want to say Wolves. Maybe they're not going to do outrageous things, but I feel like they're going to definitely surprise people.
I went for Wolves as well.
They'll be higher up the league than people predict.
First manager to be sacked.
I mean, you're gonna make me say it?
Yeah.
Mourinho by Thanksgiving, by mid-November, if that long.
You think it's gonna go that quick?
Yeah, I mean, because let's see, where is it? Hold on. Let's look at. All right, so they have Brighton next week. They got Tottenham, Burnley, Watford, Wolves, West Ham, Newcastle, Chelsea, Everton. So they don't have like the hardest of fixtures to worry about. Tottenham will be a difficult game. West Ham will be interesting to see how that goes. Chelsea, Everton. But other than that, there should be games that they should be winning, no problem. And when they don't, if they don't win, it'll be interesting to see what happens as far as obviously, Jose was going to be the first one who gets looked at as to why they're not winning the games they should clearly be winning.
Well, what's happens Mourinho in his first season, in his third season, usually.
And the collapse it's already started.
Yeah. I went for Neil Warnock.
Okay.
I think Cardiff are really going to struggle, and they're going to sack him and try and save the season, bring in a Big Sam or something like that. Like, even listen to his pre-match interviews before their first game. It's like, oh well, if we get relegated, oh well, I'll get sacked and they'll bring someone else in. It's like, that's not the sort of attitude that you want to have. Your manager.
Like, you gotta at least pretend to care.
Yeah.
Most
top
goals.
Goal scorer.
Yeah. I want to say Mane. I genuinely think he's gonna have. He's not like we both said before. Last year, Salah was eclipsed. No pun intended. He just eclipsed all of Liverpool. So it was hard for anyone else to have like that breakout season. Whereas I feel like now, like him and Salah are gonna gel even better together than they already have been. I think he's gonna have a very good season.
I'd agree with you.
And if not him, then probably someone like Aguero or something.
I went for Harry Kane.
Okay. Yeah, I mean it
was a bit of a cop out.
It's an obvious answer, but it's an answer that's probably going to be true.
I did this before the games. So if I asked you that before today's game, do you think you would have still chose Mane? Because I don't think you will.
No. If I'm trying to like not be cop out, I would have gone with Bobby Firmino. Just because, again, I think they're going to win the league, and you don't win without your main goal scorer scoring. Yeah, like even like he already scored 2. But if I say that before he scores those 2? Probably not. I don't. But if I have to go cop out answer, I'm going Harry Kane or Aguero. Probably Harry Kane. I'll be there right there with you.
And player of the season.
It's a tough one. Where are you at on this one?
I went to Bruyne.
I wanted to, but I have to agree. I mean, yeah, I have to agree with you on that one.
For me, he's the best number 10 in Europe. He didn't really feature today, but
when he does, that's the thing. They don't need to. They have this incredible player, but you don't need it, especially with the schedule they have coming up. Like, why risk him? At the same time, you want him to be in somewhat form once, Champions League starts kicking off, because obviously you want your best possible team.
Yeah.
But Man City are in that, at least for the next 6 or so weeks, they're in that type of position to where they don't need to risk possibly losing one of
They could play their second string, like Phil Foden
and then
people like that, and still smash most teams.
Yeah. I mean, so we did winner.
Let's go
relegator.
Let's go Champions League winner.
Oh, I don't want to admit it. I
think I know who you're gonna say.
It's an Italian team.
Are they from Turin by any chance?
Do they happen to be a direct rival to my team? Yeah, I mean,
AC Milan, obviously. Yeah.
Yes, obviously AC Milan. No, like my biggest thing is, obviously, I have to hate Juventus with every fiber of my being, but it's actually funny because I used to be a Juve fan when I was like years ago, before I even followed football at all, just because my cousins brainwashed me. And then I grew up and I got a brain of my own. I'm like, oh, Inter Milan, that's a good team. But currently, as it stands, Inter Milan is the only team in Italy to win a treble with all top flight trophies, being the Serie A Cup, the Coppa Italia, which is our like national cup, and Champions League. Juventus did it, but they did it with Europa League. So I kind of like having that we're the only ones thing. Um, but it's it was building all these years. They've won. They made it to two Champions League finals in 4 years or 3 years, whatever it was. They got smashed both times, but
Yeah.
uh, they just there's no putting it off anymore. Like their team is not fair. I mean, just
They,
Ronaldo
they
gets what.
have lost some big players.
Yeah,
They've
they
lost
have,
Gonzalo Higuain, but they have also gained
but,
Leonardo Bonucci. Uh,
I mean, yeah, they lost Higuain and they gained Ronaldo. I think they'll be
they
fine.
lost legend in Gianluigi Buffon.
That's the one thing. See, but I was talking to my brother about this because he's a Juventus fan. Yeah, they lost a legend in Gianluigi Buffon, no doubting that. But if you look at, I think it was something like Buffon only had to try and save maybe like 20 shots all season. That defense is Italian defense is not a joke.
Yeah.
That's why when it works with our national team, we can contend with these big teams because our attack might not be all there, but you can't win if you can't get past our defenders.
Yeah.
And Bonucci, Barzagli, and Chiellini. This is hurting me inside to say, they're
Benatia as well.
yeah, even Benatia, but I'm just talking. Ah, see, I don't even know if that'll be their starting three because, with Alexandro and possibly Marcelo, who Ronaldo is still trying to recruit, I don't see them
Like,
playing a back three. Because they need Marcelo because their team is lacking in any way, shape, or form.
yeah, just convert Alexandra to be a right back.
Yeah, you might as well at this point. Actually, no, because their right back, Cancelo, is an animal.
I've never seen him play.
We had him on.
Is he good?
We loaned him out. We had him on loan last year, from Valencia, I believe it was. One of the reasons we were in Champions League to begin with. Without him, we don't make the run that we do at the end. And there were talks about us getting him back, and then Juve swooped in for 40 million, something like that, and took him. So they're sorted. Every position, their depth is absurd. Their strike
And they've
force.
got a little Argentinian up front called Pablo
I
Dybala,
just, I just,
who's all right.
I'm trying to think. It's gonna be something. Ronaldo up top, Costa one side. What's his name? No, Ronaldo as their number 9. That's not a shadow of a doubt. He's striker for them.
So it's Ronaldo striker, Dybala cam,
Quadrado and Costa as their wingers, probably right to left respectively. Dybala is probably gonna, on paper, he'll be, their center attacking mid. He'll probably shift to a center forward type position, just because I think he does better in that type of position.
And then you've got all the. And then Juventus have just got an unfair team.
Honestly, I'm just shooting for. I'm praying.
Juventus.
Oh no, I'm praying for PSG to do what they've been trying to do for years and finally make it, to the whole way.
What I'd like to see happen is for Paris Saint-Germain or Barcelona to win it. I'd like to see PSG win it just for Buffon.
Yes. Now that I can finally cheer for Buffon to win a cup, because he deserves it. He literally, I mean, again, if he doesn't and he retires, I think he'll be okay with everything else he's won. But he does deserve a solid chance at lifting that title, because I think that's the one thing. That's why he went to PSG after all. He saw what they're doing, and he wants to win it. So, obviously, Inter's lifting it next year. Come on, 9-goal is going to carry us to victory.
Oh yeah.
God bless that little Belgian. But no, definitely.
I mean,
if it's something like PSG, I wouldn't be mad. I don't see Real Madrid challenging.
Mbappe another season can only get better.
Yeah, I don't see.
It's frightening that he's only 19.
Yeah, I'm very scared of that.
If Neymar can get his head into the game, and out of his arse. And then
And
I've got Edinson Cavani, who just scores goals for fun.
I've never been a fan of Cavani. I'll be honest.
He's not something I'm rate high massively, but I think he's a good striker.
He's a solid striker. Like as far as going from who you had in Zlatan Ibrahimovic to Cavani, there was definitely that obvious drop off that they saw at first. That first season, there was that clear and obvious drop off, but then he was just like, okay, let me start trying, and just like you said, he scores goals for fun.
Like PSG's midfield's a bit meh.
Yeah,
Rabiot, Verratti, who's a good player.
Verratti, how they've managed to hold on to him baffles me, because he could maybe not anymore. If this was 2 seasons ago, I could see him getting, a very very lucrative deal for Barcelona, Real Madrid, whatever. But
and the defense is very good as well.
Mm-hmm. If we're not talking about Juventus, definitely PSG up there, definitely Barcelona. I don't see Real Madrid challenging.
I think Vidal will be a massive addition for Barca.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because they needed more.
Well, they used the Iniesta replacement sort of.
True. That and they were in the
TT.
They were in the market of World Cup. Apparently they were, Barcelona were just in the market of screwing over Italian teams this season, so it's fine. Malcolm,
but I think if I had to choose a team to win it, I think it'll be Juventus.
Yeah. Honestly, it's just at this point, it's just who are they going to be playing to beat in the final?
Yeah.
I think it's just like it's a race for second. I hate to say it.
And I think Liverpool could be that team they play in the final again.
Yeah. I could see a Liverpool Man City semifinal.
Yeah.
Liverpool Barcelona. I could see something along those lines.
Yeah. And that's all the predictions I've got. Yeah.
That was a decent 2-hour little podcast to start off. For anyone that's left, appreciate you guys hanging out. These will definitely be, when we get, as we move on, we'll definitely, there's 2 other people that are usually here with us, or that will be here with us. Couldn't make it today. A big chunk. I mean, I think we did like an hour and a half talking about the transfers. Yeah. So that's the only reason why it was so long. Because usually it'll probably be like an hour an episode or something like that.
Yeah. Until
FIFA comes out, and then we're talking like 3.5-hour episodes because FIFA
raging about how shit the gameplay is.
Oh yeah, that I actually can't wait until that. I cannot wait for that. But until then, once this becomes a YouTube video, if anybody wants to any of the predictions we said today, whether it be top of the league, bottom of the league, first manager, goal scorer, Champions League, which I'm pretty sure we're gonna have a general consensus on that one. But if you are watching this as a YouTube video, let us know down below. His link for his Twitch, his Twitter will be in the description, same as mine. Anything to wrap up with?
No, I'm just looking forward to the rest of the season and hoping to get a win against Cardiff on Saturday.
All right, well, until next week, see you guys then. Peace.
See ya.